A very good evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. We'll continue to take a look on what's happening in this nation of Zimbabwe. The war veterans, they seem to be now standing in solidarity with Vice President Chiwenga, and also they are calling for the involvement of people like Nelson Chamisa and the like minds. Let us take a look onto this video.
Muvenga tava naye pari zvino ari mukati medu akaipisisa pane muvengi uyo atanga tichirwisa. Saka isu ngatibatanei, ngatitauriranei even nevatinoti veopposition ivo vana Chamisa ivavo, tibatane semhuri one yeZimbabwe, sezvo takabatana semhuri one panyaya restore legacy, right? Vanhu vedu vari kushupika muno muZimbabwe. Tikada kunyeperana kuti zvinhu zviri right, zvinhu hazvina kumira mushe. People are suffering. Povu yedu iri kusafa. Ngatione kuti malutas aya tadhila nawo, nyaya yecorruption tadhila nayo, nyaya yema-2030 we have become a security risk, vadhiliwa nawo once and for all, right? Iwo matsotsi ese iwawawa andikutaura matsotsi aya, ma-efforts ese ekuti paite unity, paite titi, even the opposition. Isu want unity. There is no point as Zimbabweans, right, to remain divided like this. Why?
If we go to 20...
Because Mirani Kutaureka,
Yes.
Urkoda is war veterans. One thing we had managed to do, right, was to unite Zimbabweans as saka zvese vapresident vakubvudza mubvunzo wani, matsotsi aya anaka kupinda Chiwenga, vanaka kupinda Chiwenga matsotsi aya amakuteerera, and imovuka it's just as simple as that, kuti Chiwenga mongomuti ibva otoinda, isu hatidi kuunzwa zvowezva muno munyika.
So one thing we need to acknowledge is that these world veterans, they actually see light when it comes to the issue of change, but their major problem is that they are obsessed with Chiwenga. I do not know the reason why they still want Chiwenga to be there. Yes, they fought the war of the liberation, they liberated Zimbabwe, but they were not the only ones who fought. Our grandparents fought, our fathers fought in this liberation struggle. So I like that he said it clearly that Mnangagwa is now worse than Ian Smith. He said it openly and publicly. And also he raised the issue or the aspect of unity, the aspect of working together. He raised that very important issue. We need to unite, we need to work together, and we need to build a formidable force which is going to make sure that we develop Zimbabwe further from now. So we need to agree that Nelson Chamisa is the key ingredient in terms of the prosperity of Zimbabwe, because he's the man who is carrying the mantle of trust in within Zimbabwe. He's a man who carries or who commands the biggest chunk of our population right in Zimbabwe. Which means whatever you might think, you might plan, you cannot plan something successfully without the involvement of Advocate Nelson Chamisa. It won't happen. So let us be honest with each other. Emmerson Mnangagwa, we have come to the conclusion that he has failed. The 2030 agenda, it must collapse, and it must be actually fought by everyone. Every reasonable Zimbabwe must fight the 2030 agenda. But I have a problem with the issue of entitlement from these war veterans. They don't speak about the dissolution of ZANU-PF. They don't speak about the dislodgement of the ZANU-PF system. They want kuti vambopindawo vambodyawo. The problem is vari kuda kuti tirambe tichimendena the same system for their own benefit, which is wrong. So the 2030ists are not me as NPF supporters or Mnangagwa supporters. It's a system which is backing them, funding them, financing them, with the objectives of continuously looting and stealing from Zimbabwe. Which means if we are to have Nelson Chamisa go to unite with the 2030ists, with whoever, and we don't destroy the funders and the sponsors of the 2030ists, it becomes a problem. So one way or the other, we need to agree that the war veterans, they're actually telling the truth, and this is a reality. This is real, and we need to confront our troubles and our problems, and we just hope and believe that something is going to give up. We are going to have change right here in Zimbabwe. But we don't want to be shortchanged like what happened in 2018, like what happened during the GNU, that they shortchanged us, involved us in the GNU, but at the end of the day, they refused to bring the necessary reforms. So that is what is very important. We need necessary reforms. We need things to be done properly and accordingly, such that it benefits the people of Zimbabwe, not these older dollars. These old veterans must remember that the issue is no longer about them, because they no longer have days. The issue is about future generations. Personally, I'm no longer fighting for myself. I'm no longer fighting for me to be comfortable. I have not been comfortable, and I know that it will be very difficult for me to be comfortable and settled. But I'm now fighting for a generation which is following me. I'm now fighting for my children. Kuti, that generation must find a better Zimbabwe, which means our generation must sacrifice for the sake of the coming generations to enjoy right in Zimbabwe. So that is what our veterans are not realizing, that they have to sacrifice for the sake of the future generations. They still want to be involved in day-to-day running of the nation. That is problematic, and it's very difficult for them to actually come at their age to do something meaningful and say we are transforming Zimbabwe. It won't work. So let us agree on key issues. Key issues are change is necessary. Key issues are that you won't have development without the input of people like President Nelson Chamisa, but he can't come as a backbencher. He must be on the forefront, leading Zimbabwe to a prosperous country, and that is what is very important. So Thomas, thank you very much for coming. He says, Kuri say, we are good right here. Thank you very much, Koma Thomas, for this contribution. And there is another comment from Facebook. I can't see the name right here. Okay, he says, I have always said this thing, bring Chamisa on board. Yes, we need Nelson Chamisa on board. Anything and everything which is going to be done right in Zimbabwe, we have to make sure that we bring Advocate Nelson Chamisa on board. And he's the man who is going to spearhead that much needed transition. And, we need to transform Zimbabwe. We need honest people on board. We need the rightful people on board. So this is it. We are going to next look at the Botswana cabinet. Soon after this live, we are going to have another live where we are going to look at the Botswana cabinet, and something very interesting and very important. We have to talk more about that development. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming.